Very Europe, and I
We're
think
live
Europe
now.
will
Me
still
and my
appeal.
friends get no respect. What does Scooby do that we neglect? We be putting all our foes in check, but me and my friends get no respect. So what? Who cares? We're doing it how we like. I'm singing it through my mic, a special underwater mic. Who's gonna save the world? Who's gonna save the days? When they have cracked and steel and eerie hills with evil rays? Who's gonna talk like girlies and curly isn't here? Who's gonna chase down villains and then turn around and run in fear? You know who I'm talking about? He's fat and short on brains and I need not me Captain Dick and I mean Jabba Trying to further justice without making waves to impress the ladies, but in subtle ways. Get lost between the sediment and water maze.
I will never date you cause you smell like bait.
So what? Who cares? What is the villain plot? Get an army of lobster bots to tie you up in sailor's knots.
Who's gonna save the world? Who's gonna save the day? From me I perhaps you steal and you heal with evil rays.
Who's gonna talk like girlies and curly in the ear? Who's gonna chase down villains and then turn around and run in fear? Who's gonna stand for justice when bad guys break the law? You know who I'm talking about. We're claiming chili and bubbles and fist, but if you're catching a whiff of fish, it's Jabba
Well, looks like I hope you guys had a good, happy Easter of late, late weekends. Joining us tonight, we will not have our guest of honor, Janelle, for she had a medical emergency. Wish her well, everybody.
Hope
Good
you get.
evening.
Sorry.
Go ahead. Wish her well, Leia.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I hope you get better, Janelle. We miss you, but you take care and take care of that tooth.
Good evening, UN Spacey Wolf Squadron. And Leia just spit her business out like that. I just noticed.
Well, it's all right. Well, I know what it's like to have that kind of pain. It's not fun. It's not fun at all.
This has been your Welcome to
Sorry.
Wolf 10. I'm your werewolf. Tonight we're doing yes another animation spotlight before we do our upcoming 90s X-Men series, but we're gonna go with the start of the series with being the pilot episode that they started out, which is Pryde of the X-Men. Now you can track it down on YouTube for free. Just type in Pryde of the X-Men, that's Pryde. We're gonna talk about this one in depth, and I'm with my usual suspects, starting with the Warrior of Light, Final Fantasy Fan 12.
Greetings to viewers and my fellow Final Fantasy fans. This is Final Fantasy Fan 12 and welcome back to another live stream of the UN Spacey War Squadron. And today we are doing an episode of an animation spotlight talking about Pryde of the X-Men, which is the original pilot episode for X-Men 1992.
Yes, I said that, but you articulated it way better than I did. Good for you. We are with the resident diehard X-Men 90s fan, the lovely Leia plus size.
Good evening, everyone. This is Leah Plus Size, your lovely lady of valor. And as my fellow group member has mentioned, Final, we're going to start off this first of a couple of X-Men conversations with the pilot for that would eventually lead to the X-Men series of 1992. So we hope you have some fun, and maybe if you've not watched the X-Men, maybe after this conversation, you might want to take an interest in seeing some of the cartoons yourself.
We're here along with the Hound of the South, Donut Powell.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our latest episode of Animation Spotlight, where we'll be talking about Pryde of the X-Men and how it led to the creation of X-Men 92.
I swear, it's like you guys are parents.
I beg your pardon?
Kidding, kidding. So, where do we begin? We don't have our resident Janelle Pinner with us to talk about the in-depth knowledge of how this production came in. So I guess we can just talk about uh, little de- little details here in the setup, which is the the plot of the whole pilot is Magneto is trying to destroy all of mankind with the most dumbest of plans ever, dropping a meteor on Earth, in which that once he wipe out all human life, the mutants will inherit the Earth. Can you spot the holes in his plan?
I mean, there's so many holes. Well, it would you need to go on a trip to grocery store to get some Swiss cheese.
All the
I
while,
think this is where he even got from or no, not Bolivar Trask. Sebastian Shaw got that plan for X-Men First Class by going an all-out nuclear war to think that the mutants would take over.
we have a new member arriving to Xavier's school for Get the Youngsters, known as Kitty Pryde, meeting the X Men for the first time,
Hmm.
and discovering her powers and trying to find her place in the team, or wanting a place in the team during this episode. For starters, let's go over the intended roster had this show gone over, if this pilot was way more successful.
Hmm.
The roster of the heroes group was consisted of Cyclops, Storm, Colossus, Dazzler, Wolverine, and Nightcrawler,
Hmm.
all who will be voiced by different voice actors later on down the road. Once we get into those characters, which at the time when the '92 cartoon came out, we had a different roster altogether, which was the definitive roster that a lot of people wanted to see after once. I'm sorry, the definitive roster that was cemented in everybody's mind. But this was an interesting choice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because essentially it's a mixture of the of the second Genesis team from created by Dave Cockrum and Len Wein, and the Australian Outback team after the fall of the mutants.
Hmm. And funny enough, when I was watching this pilot episode very recently before we started doing this, in fact, I started to notice that holy shit, this is suddenly a bit reminiscent. You guys ever played the Konami X-Men beat 'em up game that came out exactly the same year before as X-Men 92?
Yep.
The team is reminiscent of that, even to the villains. And yeah, the roster of villains, of course, is Magneto, Emma Frost, the Blob, and
Juggernaut,
and Juggernaut,
Toad,
And
with
the Toad.
and Toad, who's actually in there in place of Mystique in the game because he didn't appear. Toad did not appear in that game, and once again, Wendigo is also missing. And oh yeah, the Pyro's also in here too.
exactly, and not Avalanche. But you're right. It was an interesting choice of a roster, both good guys and villains. Of course, we also
Although,
had the appearance of Lockheed.
mm-hmm. And Kitty's faithful alien dragon companion. Oh, just on a side note, with Wendigo, he's not only faced the X Men but also the Hulk as well as members of the Avengers. So he would
Hmm.
be more kind of more as a Marvel villain and not limited to just one character or team.
Yeah, I know he has had many encounters with the X-Men because he's had many encounters with Alpha Flight, which that used to be the Canadian superhero team that Wolverine is a part of. And oh, by the way, Wolverine is not Canadian in this show, but he's an Aussie man now.
Well, he's he's voiced as an his voice actor is an Australian and didn't really make an attempt to pull off a Canadian accent.
And for some reason, the Pyro is also an Aussie man in this
Well,
pilot.
well, that's actually accurate because
Oh, it's an Aussie man?
because say John Allardyce Pyro, he is actually he was born and raised in Australia.
Okay. But yeah, it's just weird that Wolverine, a Canadian hero, was once a part of Alpha Flight and now's a
He
prominent
suddenly
member of the X-Men
he
and
suddenly
one of the most
sound like an Aussie.
yep.
Yeah.
Well, Colossus is still Russian.
Oh yeah.
Nightcrawler is still German as well.
Oh yeah. And yeah, the Pyro's Canonically Australian. Yeah. Um
No, can we not mention how Magneto's characterization in the pilot is actually accurate to his previous portrayal during the early years of the X-Men with Lee and Kirby. This was before Claremont. Before Claremont, Byrne, and Lin Wein.
mm,
I was going to say, and this may not be a popular opinion, but I'm just going to be honest because somebody, I forgot who it was, just had a comment about when we got to the most famous the classic X-Men show, the emphasis was from Kitty Pryde to Jubilee. I have always thought Kitty Pryde was overrated. Maybe it was her powers, her abilities. I really don't know. But I honestly did think that she was overrated somehow. Even in the movies, I thought she was way overrated. Now, that's just a personal opinion that I had. So that
she's always
could have
been a
been.
prominent member of the X-Men, especially in the comics, but a lot of times during the Chris Claremont era, she's they always try to portray her as more so as this type of legacy character in the X-Men, even though Jubilee is also one.
Well, with Jubilee, she joined between the 80s and the 90s because she
Mm,
started out as a mall rat. Oh, with Kitty, she's been a member of the team since she was 13 years old, and we actually see her grow up in real time from a teenager to a young adult woman.
and so much so, um, the comic version of X-Men Days of Future Past, she was a very prominent character. In fact, she was the one who went back in time, not Wolverine, because those sell movie tickets. And
I know.
and a lot of the that really should have been called the X-Men anthology, but actually that will be a whole episode of comic studies on my channel in the future whenever I get to that story eventually. Because it's kind of a rip off of a story.
Yeah, I know she plays a big part, but I don't know. I think when she was translated into visual media, I just felt I just felt she was overhyped. And even in this cartoon, I got to be honest that the pilot wasn't that great because I when I was seeing him, we told we were going to do this, I had to go back and try to remember some of the episodes because I'd forgotten a lot of them. So I had to go back to rewatch. But I just think that the pilot wasn't that great. I think one of the problem to me, my own personal opinion, was I just think there was too much emphasis on Kitty Pryde. I just felt that she wasn't that great of. If you wanted to take her and spin her off into some younger or split and make a separate young Avengers, no, young X-Men group, perhaps. But I just felt like I just felt that it was just
It's mainly because
I don't
It's
hate her.
most,
I just think
it's
she's
most
overhyped.
likely
I don't
it's
hate the
most likely
character.
you were not. It's most likely you didn't really enjoy her characterization in the pilot because
yeah, because
in the
Kitty
books
in
like
this
that that's not who she is.
yeah, because in the pilot she is such a brat.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. Yes, maybe that's what it was. Yeah.
You guys have
Yeah.
been watching the Generation X Men streams. Janelle outright states that she's meant to be,
She's
unfortunately.
she's meant to be a brat.
Hmm.
Well,
Oh, okay.
oh wait, I thought yeah, because
Even
in the well in the
here,
book she was bratty back then, but eventually, but she grew up.
I don't remember Lockheed. Who was Lockheed? Somebody can somebody
No, it's
educate me on that?
Lockheed.
Lockheed.
Oh,
Um,
He's, he's a
sorry
small
about
he's a small dragon from
that.
he's a small dragon from outer space, and he has since been he has since been Kitty's longtime companion.
oh, that's who. That's who.
Yeah,
Okay,
the
I
purple
have to
dragon.
re-educate.
Yeah.
You know,
Um,
okay, go ahead, fun. I have to read. I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna sit. I'm gonna go on the side and look that character up for a quick bit, so I can get re-educated with that character. That goes to show you how much I, because I don't pay much attention to her companions and her other characters. I don't hate the character. I just don't find the character that interesting enough to wrap a story around. Now, I know in the Days of Future Past comics, she is the one that goes back in time. Yeah, okay, but I guess really that's about the only part really that was interesting adventure for her to be in. But I
Well,
just
there's
never
more.
looked at this character as a center of to be the center of a story. I would say no. That's what I meant. I don't hate the character. I just don't think the character is really that it should have to be the center of a story. I'm not familiar with yeah that story. So somebody look at the picture for me. Okay, all right.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, I remember. I remember. And since then, the only that hasn't been censored by Marvel Comics when in any of the reprints for God Loves Man Kills. As for the picture right in front of you, Leia, the small dragon in front of Kitty is Lockheed.
Okay, all right. That one. I'm reading. I've got to educate myself to her adventures with Lockheed because I'm not familiar with the story. I've got to tell the truth. I guess that shows you how much interest I had in Kitty Pryde. So I'm not. Forgive me all. I'm not familiar with that particular character. I think I am, but I've got to reintroduce myself back to the storylines with that character.
Well, his first appearance was actually during the X-Men's encounter with the Brood for the first time.
This is okay. I didn't mean to derail it. I we can continue on with the show, but
Well,
I was just saying how one of the reasons why maybe perhaps I didn't take to the pilot. Usually pilots seasons I remember pretty good, but this one kind of flew over my head. So maybe when we discuss it more, maybe I'll find out. Again, there's some good things that were good, and there were some things that were like, yeah, that could be better. I know the writers and the animators talked about that a lot.
not to mention how it was a learning experience, and they took the lessons they learned from Pride of the X-Men's failings to heart, and they applied it to X-Men 92, ensuring that they don't make those same mistakes again.
Kitty was a lot of comic guys' first crush, and the ones who got into comics were obsessed with her. Hell, Joss Whedon based a lot of Buffy on Kitty.
But he's not wrong.
No, I believe you. I believe you, buddy. I absolutely believe you. Like I said, I don't hate the character. I just felt, I guess, the way that she was written into the story, it just didn't work for me. I put it like that. I don't. I
I mean,
want
she's
everybody
always
to know
been a
that I
more
don't hate the
prominent
character.
member, but she wouldn't be the center of the story.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Even
exactly.
then, if
That's where
she's
yeah.
even
that's
then if
where
she's
that's where you get the misconception of her.
yeah,
Okay.
even then if she's a side character for the X Men in one film, X Men Last Stand, even then she's useless in that.
Yeah, you see, that's my problem. In X-Men Last Stand, one of the reasons that
Not
movie
useless,
sucked,
underutilized
it sucked was because I felt there was too
because of
much Kitty
budget.
Pryde.
Because there are things where key does work, and there's things where key doesn't. But when you don't have any intent on using a character through physical means, you better have some ways of character means. If they're not gonna really do much of anything power wise or ability wise, there better be a good damn reason why they're in that movie in the first place, either to offer wisdom or advice, or or philosophize, or even just be there as a supporting character if need be. Yeah, sure. Some of the fans of that character will want that character to be doing more than just talk. But whatever, if you are going to have them talk, you better have something meaningful for them to say
Hmm.
at
Exactly.
best. And and in that movie, she barely had anything meaningful to say other than to call Juggernaut a penis head.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you on that one.
And
I
then once
absolutely.
again, another love triangle between her, Rogue, and Iceman.
That was already building up.
Yeah, it was silly, but it was already building
It's
up. I mean, I don't know why Iceman would pick Kitty Pryde over Roll. But in my mind, I thought, well, if she got Remy LeBeau to go to down the line, so
That was,
Oh
that
wait,
was a
Kitty was also the inspiration for Terra and the Teen Titans?
that was also a dumb pairing too. Bobby and Rogue. Like seriously.
he was
yeah,
ta- he was
that's what I
taking
said.
cues from the Ultimate X-Men series when the Ultimate Marvel Universe was active.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
proof for
that's
that.
why it was shit.
But see, I have to agree with
And
Wolf. Like one of the reasons that Last Stand sucked was I always felt it was too. I kept saying it when I saw the film. There's just too much Kitty Pride. She's not
No,
like you said.
No, it was
She's
not
not.
because of too
no,
much
it's
Kitty
not.
Pride. It tried doing so much at once because they tried to do the Phoenix Saga, but also do the Mutant Cure Saga, and then there's
Which is
so
from
much
Astonishing
going
X-Men.
on.
No. I'll rephrase that. I agree. I said Kitty was one of the many reasons why that movie didn't work. And yes, final. You're absolutely right. Too much was going on. They screwed up the Dark Phoenix saga really bad in that one.
are you
I
guys even
absolutely agree.
interested in talking about this animation?
What the animation on the show
What? No, it's the show
or the
itself.
image?
Because in the beginning, we're actually giving a narration by Stanley himself.
Mm-hmm.
No, talking about Magneto, well, the military escorting Magneto into a highly intense and protected prison. However, they end up being intercepted by members of the Brotherhood.
Yeah,
And
wise choice
also,
for to put him in metal trucks despite being called Magneto.
yeah, as for putting Emma Frost as a member of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, it was like, oh, it was odd because she's usually associated with the Hellfire Club before she had her heel face turn. But I can
Because she made a heel face turn to the X-Men because Grant Morrison tried to was kissing the ass of his
no.
mistress.
But even before that, like her heel face turn like started when when Bishop and his crew of the XSE was chasing after Trevor Fitzroy, and her students were killed by Trevor when he used his powers onto her students to create a time portal. But at that time she didn't know because she was in a comatose state, and when she transferred her mind and took over Bobby's body, she learned about the fate of her students, and immediately she was devastated because she genuinely cared. She genuinely cared about those kids.
Let's stay on target for now.
But even so, like I can understand. Even though I don't necessarily agree with the choice, I can understand why they place her in the Brotherhood of Mutants because I'd imagine they didn't have access to Mystique, or they weren't aware of her. her as well as her longtime involvement with the Brotherhood.
This roster was cherry picked for sure on the bad guy side, especially when you had Juggernaut as their team. And funny enough, with him on their team, they should have won this fight like no contest. And I'm surprised that this fight between Colossus and Juggernaut made it to Deadpool 2, which was interesting. But that's not the point. The point is that it's pretty strange that this roster was able to lose against the X-Men the way it did. Which
Yeah,
which is funny because it showed how very little understanding that the team of animators and writers had. I don't even recall Cyclops using his optic glass in this series, and I just recently watched it.
He used them rather rarely.
like
Exactly.
sparingly is more like it.
Hmm.
They were used sparingly.
They didn't even get Dazzler's powers completely correct, or rather, they did, but they displayed it in such a non epic way due to the
Yeah, because
limitations of the
she is a
animation.
powerhouse.
That and the way how they display Emma Frost's powers, which was horri-
Very inaccurate.
horrendously inaccurate, especially when she pulled out a psychic spear, which made me wonder was she bringing with Psylocke in mind?
It's it's possible.
And then Blob got goodness gracious what they did with
Oh God.
they made him a dumb meat. They
He is
made him
Even the
such a dumbass.
which
why
again, it's very inaccurate of his character.
Yeah. And he later gets out so much. He is such a dumbass. He gets outsmarted by Nightcrawler. I mean,
that I
I know Nightcrawler has always been a trickster, but still.
that I can believe. But he's way more he's I wouldn't say he's completely complex, but he's got
He's
layers. He's got layers to him. Hell, even Evolution Blob was way more threatening than this clown. Hell, Blob in the later the now definitive animation of X-Men is way more threatening than this guy. Hell, when they faced off Blob in the '90s X-Men show, seeing him move a range struggle against him made me think twice on dealing with him. And when I discovered who he was in Evolution, I was like, oh shit, not him, not him. Because my childhood memory, especially going into junior high, when I realized who that fucking was, I was like, oh no, all because I had PTSD of Blob. Because my innate fear usually is if none of the heroes can't defeat this particular villain, I'm afraid of that villain. I'm almost afraid of it. If I,
he won. He somehow won against Colossus in this pilot, and yet he isn't. And yet he gets easily outsmarted by Nightcrawler and doesn't even know where
again,
the fuck he went.
again, I believe that. I can believe that. That's not the point. I can believe Nightcrawler can outsmart him. Okay,
I mean, yeah, but he
the way
doesn't even bother to look around.
yeah, the way how they went about it's pretty freaking Looney Tunes. It is completely Looney Tunes, bar none. That was hilarious. But let's get into the whole eliminating the planet Earth with a meteor just
Yeah.
so the mutants can inherit the Earth. That was oh my
Once
goodness.
again, I mean, once again, there are so many holes with these plans. As they're essentially Swiss, a pair of Swiss cheese you find in the supermarket.
I don't know why people even
So,
like Magneto when
so
he's got plans
let's
like
get this straight.
that
He
that
took
were
the.
different.
Sorry,
Oh,
Wolf. He took
No.
the circuits for Cerebrum, which is how Xavier is able to find all the mutants, and yet he uses this to summon the meteor instead of putting up a message to have all the mutants join his side, because that's his whole goal, because he believes the mutants are the superior race. But no, he's just gonna use this to pull a Sephiroth by where basically is now the black meteor, so then he could summon the meteor to destroy the world. But yet he's only gonna use that to make the mutants the superior race to rule the earth, even though that's gonna destroy it.
It was the early '90s. They didn't think it through.
Must very much didn't think it through at all. They didn't think that through at all. That was
Uh,
Gee, I
they
hope
also,
DC
also
doesn't pull that. Oh wait, Batman Arkham Knight.
uh
they also
I
also
thought they
didn't do their research like on these characters.
I don't think they did, because you would think with Magneto, with all his powers, there's so much other. You see, I thought it was going to be. I guess I thought it was going to be much like they did in the '90s show with him against humanity,
Yeah, you're right,
but not.
Neostar. He
Yeah,
wouldn't kill the
yeah,
mutants because he believes the mutants are the superior race on Earth. That's why he has this rather dogmatic worldview. So then why did he have to go to the point to summon a freaking meteor as though he were Sephiroth?
There's also the matter of essentially well, don't want not wanting to see mutants like go through what he went through when World War II was occurring. However, however, what he didn't realize is he's essentially became the same as the Axis powers.
right.
Can
That
we
I
talk about the
understood.
voice actor real quick?
What?
Can we talk about the voice actor real quick?
Yeah, we can.
Unbearable. It is
Only,
so bad.
only you would say that.
Well, he's not wrong.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
wasn't worth the
Storm's
greatest.
voice, Storm's voice actress and part of the X Men is very similar to one of her voice actresses in '92 because at that it was for a good long while I didn't know she had two voice actresses.
Oh yeah, you're right. That does sound like her in '92,
Oh god.
even though that's a completely different voice actress.
But you wouldn't know that because they sound exactly the same.
She's passable in comparison. I don't even think
Some
Dazzler had
voices,
a line
yeah,
in
some
this
voices they got them right because again, Colossus sounds Russian as he's supposed to be, and Nightcrawler is supposed to sound German as he's supposed to
heavy,
be.
heavy.
But Jesus Christ, it is so unbearable because a lot of them got them so wrong. I already mentioned Wolverine and his Australian accent because even though he's Canadian, but Blob's stupid. Magneto generically, he just sounds generic.
And not even the good kind of generic.
I didn't mind. It was Xavier's voice that really threw me for a loop. Like his voice was unbearably deep.
Uh huh.
Yeah, yeah, that threw me off too. With Magneto, even though it's not the good kind of generic, he wasn't completely terrible.
It was threatening, I will say that.
Mm-hmm. I concur.
No, it will never compare to the original voice actor for Magneto. The true Magneto voice I always channel whenever time I read him in comics.
Or even Ian McKellen.
Well, no, I don't ever picture Ian McKellen's voice whenever time I read young Magneto or even
Well,
seasoned
I mean, for
Magneto.
Ian McKellen, sound like he was sound like Max like
Yeah.
older, but for
I mean, because, yeah, he is very old, because at the time he was still doing Lord of the Rings at the time, but that's besides the
yeah.
point.
Well, no, I mean, no, I mean in the comics he was old until he got de-aged and he was restored. He became an adult again, but he was rejuvenated, so he became a man of between his 30s and 40s. So I can understand why you hear Magneto's voice actor from the '92 series because Because, well, yeah,
In spite of
I,
looking like he's somewhere in his 50s, it's because his hair is white.
That's usually the source of his mutant powers.
Oh,
Don't
it's
quote me
true.
on that,
It is due to his powers.
okay.
but don't quote me on that.
No,
They
no,
might.
you're not exactly you're not far off. Oh, because like even like in the books like when he was born, his hair was born white.
Mm.
But the thing is that whenever time I've ever read Magneto, it was always in the '92 voice. Always. You could even if Ian McKellen portrayed him for a time, the only way I'll ever hear that is if I'm reminiscing the movie, and that's about it. As far as comic was concerned, I'll never hear McKellen's voice reading Magneto's lines. It will always be '92's Magneto, always, because that's how much of an impact he had on me. Though you can forgive this pilot for being the way it is because it had that GI Joe syndrome type
Yeah,
of.
Indeed,
that's
it did.
pretty much the whole reason why it was made, was because they tried to be. Marvel tried to was wanting to be the next G.I. Joe or the next Transformers, so then they created this pilot, and then that's how we have the pilot.
You
And it
see
was
the
that way until later it was later rejuvenated to X-Men 1992 with actually focusing on character drama.
you see the makings of, you see the makeup easily see the makeup of it, just the setup itself, the beginning, middle, and the end type of structure of the way how the episode go. You have, but as really as silly of a plan that is with Magneto, it did set up the stakes. I'm not gonna lie,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, it
it set
did.
up the stakes really well, and I think Magneto was having one of those off days.
Apparently, yeah, Magneto is now
Oh,
genocidal instead of being dogmatic.
well,
Dog,
again,
dog,
if you
but
read the
that's
early Ian Kirby books, he was portrayed as such. And again, this was before Ween, Byrne, and Claremont took over the title, and was able to expand on him.
Leia, what did you think about the stakes in this movie?
uh, hmm.
It's not really a movie though. No,
Yeah,
it's
the
just a
TV
pilot
show.
episode.
I gotta
I
be
call it a movie,
honest.
whatever.
I would say it was about average. Again, I didn't get a chance to go back and watch all the episodes. I wanted to refamiliarize myself with it, but I would
Well,
say
you
this.
don't really need to see multiple episodes to use as a reference or comparison to draw from. Not
Yeah,
really.
I just felt like the stakes would have been there. There would have been more tension if they not really gone with this plan about the meteor, or trying for him to totally want to strike down mankind and the mutants. I would rather. I wish they had come up with a better conflict, because I don't mind Magneto being in there, and I like the idea of Magneto. He's, like I said, he's a villain that you sympathize with. You know he's wrong in his methods, but you have some sympathy for why he does what
Once
he
again,
does.
I have to advise you guys forgive it, because when it comes to creating pilots, and that's not to say I've been in the industry or anything like that. You gotta understand that when it comes to making pilots, you gotta, I don't know how much time they're given for this thing to be made. Even if that's the case, you gotta think about it like this: the pilot is meant to to do one thing, is to get people tuning in. And if they don't get
Your
tuned,
best first. You want to give them the best first impression.
which
And
unfortunately
I mean, I
was
did.
not a good impression. They just had they. It's obviously the plan was a hat plan. Like you just pull it out of a you pull a word out of the hat type of deal. So as I can crack on it all day long, but at the same time, I can be forgiving of it too.
Same.
Yeah, yeah, it pulled me in. I'm not going to say it didn't pull me in. Like I said, I didn't hate it. I thought it was okay for a start. How about I put it like that? It was okay. It was okay to get you introduced in because I was pulled in. I will admit that I was pulled in at the time, but there's always something in the back of my mind said this could be better. But
We'll
I
It
tell
was
probably
you
would
what.
have
pulled
been
in.
better if this, instead of it being a pilot episode for the X-Men, it probably would have been a pilot episode for the Avengers, because now that you mention it, or no, not Neo, I will end the senseless suppression of mutant kind by wiping out all life on Earth. Wait a minute. That's Ultron!
Well,
I know I pulled up the mention of Sephiroth because he used to summon a meteor to destroy the Earth by using Cerebrum. Because apparently that could do that now, because it's basically the black materia.
I'm
But
mad at
wiping out all life on Earth? That's Ultron! Not Magneto, he's dogmatic. I know he's meant to be reminiscent to the original X-Men run before the Chris Claremont era, but still.
I'm offended that you're pronouncing cerebral, the scientific, the medical term cerebral. I'm very offended by that. That's an X Men fan. That just not sit right with me.
what the
Finally,
medical.
he keeps pronouncing cerebral, the medical line.
Oh,
The
oh,
medical
sorry,
line.
I've been pronouncing it wrong. Sorry.
It's cerebral.
Cerebo.
Like you're not wrong, but you're using it in place of the actual code name.
Oh,
So you pronounce it correctly, you're just using it in the wrong context. But yeah, I'll tell you what I did like about this pilot though. I did like the brief fight between Juggernaut and Colossus, where Juggernaut just said you like you're not gonna get by me. Paraphrase by the way. He just grasps like this big old long ass thing, and they both just match straight with straight by bending it, by getting closer and sizing each other up. I was like, yeah, Colossus, this motherfucker don't run from anything or anyone, even
It, it was a part. It was a part of a bridge, and I also enjoyed that scene too because they were the two, both Peter and Kane were essentially evenly matched.
yeah,
I do like a line from Magneto, not Magneto, from Xavier says, and unfortunately, my half brother Juggernaut.
yeah, yeah.
Well, I'm sorry to say this, but my half brother Juggernaut. It's like already just dropping that line.
Even though that's accurate because the two of them are stepbrothers.
That's
Yeah.
water, My
Neo
mic
is
is too damn good. I think I need to turn down the volume.
But actually, now that I mention it, now I'm suddenly seeing parallels to another X-Men game. Was it X-Men Legends? Yeah, X-Men Legends.
hmm So you have heard of it.
Yes.
Start bringing up a gas. Like, you think I'm gonna die tonight? And neither was. You think I'm gonna be able to hear it elsewhere? No. What's another thing? Oh, I did like how how they freaking just how Nightcrawler seems to survive being electrocuted and
Somehow.
almost re-entry.
Somehow, because apparently electricity powers his teleportation powers, even though it has nothing to do with it.
And somehow they allow him to independently control Magneto's powers to redirect the comet or the meteor.
No, it's a comet.
Yeah, but still,
That was hilarious. That was hilarious. Completely hilarious. Just I was like, oh my god, Nightcrawler's OP in this pilot. Sheesh.
yeah. And oh yeah, now that I brought up Avengers, even the way where the sun rises on the Earth and then the X-Men just stand above the Earth as though they were paragons, that's literally there for the Avengers.
We have the humblest of writers, Humble Mari, join us tonight. Let's see if she can catch up.
Hello.
Welcome, humble.
Were you napping?
Surprisingly, yes.
You poor thing. You must have had a long day. Was it Easter recovery?
Yeah.
You poor thing. Did you watch the pilot?
Not to contribute anything.
Um, okay. Anything else, guys?
I feel like that's all we could say about this pilot episode.
It
I
is
like
just a.
I like Storm's costume in this one.
It's
Oh
just
I
a.
yeah,
kind of like her
because it
back in
is
that
yeah,
outfit.
because they used a completely different costume in '92 X-Men.
Right. I liked her costume
Um,
in this one.
which, well, yeah, like, with 92, feel like and they have them look like how they currently look when Lee joined Marvel Comics and worked with Claremont on
Yeah,
Who's punching things on a
Hmm?
key?
it's from Humble.
Oh,
So,
my
You're,
bad.
you're on your tablet, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
oh
she's
my
on that.
God. And isn't
Yep.
the opening Neostar's happy to see you, humble.
Oh, well, happy to see you too, Neostar.
Well, she could add some
isn't the
commentary to our running around things. But go ahead, Leia.
isn't the opening to this show sort of a preview or of what they did in the opening in 90 of the 92 show?
Mm-mm.
Seems like to me
Nope.
they is that oh okay, not a preview, but
Mm-mm.
seems like
You can,
they
you can easily tell that opening was something entirely different,
okay.
entirely different. Due to the fact that, like I said, it was emulating a lot of the shows that were coming out somewhere in the '80s that had a nice jingle to them, and
Hmm.
this X-Men pilot was no different, or at least if they bore a show out of it, it was going to be something entirely different. We would not have gotten the guitar riffs, the cool guitar riff that we all used to now. That pretty much sums up the X Men theme, and especially the X Men thing when you think about X Men. At least until when we get Evolution, which I mean, goodness gracious, that opening thing is also just. Mm, mm,
Hmm?
mm. Let me tell you a quick. Let me tell you a quick experience of that opening. That I don't know if I ever touched upon that when we first covered that all those years ago when we first started. But man, I was not prepared for that theme song. whatsoever. You, you gotta remember when they announced X Men Evolution that was coming to Kids WB,
Mm-hmm.
I was really excited. Truth be told, I was very very excited. They showed a lot of the cool shit that was going to be in the first season. They showed Storm, they showed Wolverine, they showed Cyclops, and of course they showed Rogue. Which I was a little bit weird because they showed her controlling weather. I was like, wait a minute, when did Rogue start controlling weather? Of course, later on when we get the episode, oh, I forgot the name of the episode. Christ. When we got the episode, it made sense in context. But man, oh man, when the theme song came out, I was like, holy shit! Now, I'm not going to compare the theme songs whatsoever. No, I'm just going to tell you just, I'm just only going to tell you my experience. That's it. I cannot tell you which one I love the most. You know, I know which one I hate the most. Wolverine, the X Men's theme song.
Yeah, I'm not too crazy about that one.
That, oh my goodness, that one was terrible. Well, I wouldn't say terrible. It just didn't have a punch to it. I don't know whose idea was it to go with that kind of theme song whatsoever. I was like, I'm watching it. I'm liking what they're showing in that show, but like that theme song, uh. It's like only Nickelodeon can fuck this up.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you on that one.
So as soon as I heard that, I was like, yep, only Nickelodeon can fuck this up. But yeah, the theme song for the Pride X-Men, I dig it. I dig it so much. You can easily forget it, get it in an instance, but when you go and search it, it's still good though. It's got a kick to it. It's not the 92 theme song, but man, it still got a kick to it, especially the lyrics. I forgot what it was called. Let me look it up real.
It generally got me excited.
Yeah, I will admit that. I don't love it as much as the 92 show. Everybody loves that theme to the 92 show, but it does get you excited. I will give it that.
I will say that if the pilot is to see and this is what we were getting with the opener, that theme song would have been locked in my mind for the years growing up. You know, it would be completely locked in my mind, and I wouldn't even I would not have any trouble remembering the lyrics. I probably would have gotten I would probably gotten them wrong though. You know what I'm saying? Much
Mm-hmm.
like much like the same as Double Dragon's theme song sometimes. You know, or even what's another? Oh, Fantastic Four. It's funny that I'm an adult now. I can only say it as my child brain remembers it, which is interesting. And some theme songs that does have lyrics are so muted due to the background music being too high. You can barely hear the lyricist singing.
Yeah, you're better than
Hmm.
me. I don't. I have to look up the lyrics to Pride. I've got to go look it up because I don't remember anything. You're better than me.
I'll
Because
give you one
usually, if it's
example.
a catchy,
I'll give you two examples. Actually, I'll give you two examples. King Arthur and the Knights of Justice. I can never seem to remember the lyrics or let alone understand what the lyrics are saying in those, except for maybe the new Adventures Speed Racer, which the only part I know is "Go Speed Go," and you got the power, Speed Racer, let it show. It's like, that's as much as I can muster. Or even the Hurricanes. We're the Hurricanes. That's the only part I know. There's some other lyrics, but that's the only part I know. One of these days, I'll remember the damn lyrics. But
It almost this one other song, America.
that I can remember.
Yeah.
I can remember beats of that.
Mhm.
Temperature in this too, cause we are coming from America. Fuck yeah, big takes. Fuck yeah, books. Nobody says shit. It's like as soon as the books come up, nobody says shit.
If it's catchy, you'll remember it. Because I'm sitting here thinking, okay, what I usually if it's a catchy song and it fits the character, you'll remember it.
Shit, the only thing I remember is Stone Protectors. We are Stone Protectors. Stone Protect, and they had the nerve to be a fucking rap song, which anybody with some delusion would think that because it's rap, I can understand that and memorize that shit. Anything with a fucking rap song, I will never be able to remember that shit half the time, except for step into the grand tour, step into the grand tour. Oh, don't tell me y'all don't remember fucking Dragon Ball GT. Okay, y'all don't.
Oh,
I don't, I'm sorry.
Whoa. You know, Dragon Ball GT's open at the time. Oh, y'all remember the Japanese one?
Okay, I don't. It's,
You're not an anime person, Leia. You ain't got no.
okay. All right.
Not anyways.
Yes, the others.
Turn Japanese. I'm trying to convert her.
Oh.
Something's a little bit working. It's getting there.
I really like Kitty Pryde's hair in this one.
Oh, I got more.
in the picture or in the pilot?
In the pilot.
Oh,
Yeah, she was rocking that original design. That was her in her original design when she first debuted, and
Yeah, from the comics.
it's it's the go-to style hair that a lot of comic artists use for lace majority of the time. I believe Jean Grey had that kind of hair in her heyday too.
she did, yeah.
Even Emma Frost time. This motherfucker. This motherfucker right here. This motherfucker. You've been drinking your Kool-Aid, haven't you, Neostar? You already on that hyper child moment, thinking of crazy ideas.
I wonder
Hyper
where he got that from.
too much sugar.
No, I'm looking at you.
Me?
I know it's you. You always do this all the time.
Not to the
Not
degree.
wrong.
Oh.
I kind of miss
Kinda.
gray hair. Period. But yeah, that theme song was really, really, really good for its time. And like I said, if the pilot had succeeded, we would have been hearing that nonstop in everybody's head. And anybody who was singing that, probably people would be humming that shit along or singing along, you know.
Yeah, they
But
would.
I have nothing else to say about this pilot. It's a 50-minute pilot. At, if nothing else, it probably would have been a 20-minute episode afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Or up until the new episode.
we could talk about the character conflict between Kitty and Nightcrawler. The fact that Nightcrawler always seemed to scare her, and her first impression was to insult him, and of course, her whole character arc was to learn to look past his hideous look.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in this
Which
case,
that
his
hasn't
demonic
been already
visage.
done in Days of Future Past, the comic.
True.
Which is also funny is that when she started the moment when Nightcrawler's life was threatened is when she even hinted back at that because she wants which was a sign of a good quality character moment for her. Whereas she not only was she very concerned for his life, she was also concerned that he wasn't going to live long enough to hear her apology. To,
Mm.
and goodness gracious, we are missing qualities like that in most shows today. I say most, not all, most.
In most
I would
most
agree.
shows, movies, and even in books.
Yes, earlier in this stream we said that she's bratty, but bratty characters do have humility.
They do.
Mm-hmm.
If you have characters that have no zero humility and zero humble, then yeah, you got a recipe for disaster for that character.
Yeah, that's Princess Morbucks from Powerpuff Girls.
She's a villain, so unless they're a villain, that counts. Unless it's a villain that's going to be a cathartic villain to the point where they become a good guy later on in life. But if they're meant to be just the villain, then there's that. When it comes down to characters like that's on the good guy side, you need that, especially if you need them to be likable, or if you want your audience to like your character. You cannot just simply tell the audience that the character is a good character if you can't show it.
Hmm.
You cannot just throw in this character is a flawed character. Well, you made a flawed character, but the thing is you don't make a caveat to that flawed character, that character's flaw. It's okay to have a flawed character, but what is tethering us to this character to make us invested in this character, to make them see them improve? That is the core thing that most characters, like basically any character from Steven Universe, let's go with that for an example, is missing the humility.
Let's see.
Uh,
One really missing the melody would have been Pearl.
oh God, Pearl. I didn't even.
Pearl was a neurotic one, and she was basically a yandere.
Pearl was never my favorite character to begin with.
Not to
Then Jesus
not to
Christ.
mention she didn't go. She for the last several years she didn't go. She has not moved on from the fact that Rose chose Greg. They married him.
Mm-hmm.
But however, that's beside the point. Like,
Oh, side note.
let's again.
Anybody catch Toad acting like Igor?
Yeah,
Yeah,
which
he
which
pretty
is
much
which is
is.
another
A bit.
which is another inaccuracy. Maybe because because again, with Toad, feel like he doesn't have this Igor mentality.
No, he doesn't.
Like for those who ever read the comics, he is
And for
he
some
might
reason, he also
he
has
might
this
start
voice to
out
sound.
as
He also
yeah,
suddenly has
but
this voice to sound like Jar Jar Binks.
No, it's
but
Igor.
look, even though he started out as as Magneto's lackey, and as a founding member of the Brotherhood, but there is actually more to him. There's more to Tony B than what was initially appeared in the early runs. I mean, heck, years later, he actually became leader of a second incarnation of the Brotherhood, and he showcased how much of a formidable opponent he is towards the X-Men and their Splinter teams.
Mm-hmm.
Correction to
And,
pilots.
during that time, he actually earned Magneto's respect.
Mm-hmm.
Correction to Jar Jar Binks. Not Jar Jar Binks. It's Igor. Remember, Jar Jar wasn't.
I know, but
He
I'm
wasn't.
saying the voice.
No, that's Igor's voice. Yes, Mister. Yes. I,
Yeah,
I
that.
did it. I did it, Magneto. I did. Yes. Now go play. Now go over there and play in an airlock. Oh, okay. I get what you're saying, Fon, but technically it was Igor. He even he even slouched like he even hunched over like Igor. There was a lot. There was a lot of. It's crazy how Igor is best known to be a joke character when he's so much more in the Frankenstein story, or rather the Frankenstein film. Because I don't, did he exist in the story? I don't think he existed.
No, he didn't exist in the story.
Well, he's more malevolent in the Frankenstein movies, whereas in later cartoons depict stand-ins of him as complete jokes, wusses, crooked, and take Gargoyle from the Incredible Hulk, the animated series, for example. He's definitely one, and there's
Mhm.
always been a lot of Igor types way back when, and it's freaking hilarious that the '90s was very, very, very abundant on that shit. High abundance. Y'all feel me?
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yes.
Hell, we didn't even get a
I
chance to talk
understand.
about Boss. Then again, she barely did shit in that pilot. Most of the characters barely did shit. All they did
Who?
was talk. Emma Frost.
Mm.
You see, I see what you're saying. I liked Emma Frost. I like Emma Frost. She's one of my favorite of the villain X-Men. But I think she was better fleshed out. Is it X-Men Wolverine? I actually liked what they did with her in that. But I wish she was fleshed
Mm,
out more because I do like the character.
You mean X-Men Origins Wolverine or Wolverine and the X-Men?
No, no.
Wolverine in the
She's referring to
with
Wolverine and the X-Men.
Okay.
yeah, Wolverine the X-Men. Yeah, that's what I'm referring to.
people
I
can't
liked
agree.
the way it
You
was
know,
going with her storyline in that one. But here it's like they didn't really know what to do with her. Yes, she's a big bad,
Well,
or did they not? I'll let Dom talk. That's a sign for I didn't get it right.
Wait, who is the little guy at the end of the series? The one that chomped on Magneto's back heel.
that might have been told. Or
Um.
Scorpio.
Tiny dragon.
Oh, that's Lockheed.
no, that's
Yeah.
Lockheed.
Lockheed.
That one's cute.
Lockheed.
Yeah, it's Kitty
I was
Pryde's
about to
faithful
say.
dragon companion.
I was about to say. I think. I bet you. Humble likes him. I think
What?
you've inspired
Just
her.
to briefly go back to
Hmm.
Emma Leia. Well,
Yeah, go ahead.
that was Emma before her heel face turn.
Mm-hmm.
She was
Hmm.
still
Okay.
she was still a villainess and a member of the Hellfire Club and an eventual headmaster of her Massachusetts Academy with the Hellions.
She was also in the two anime
Yes.
as well.
Okay.
Her
All right.
design
I'll give you
was
that.
different back
And
then.
she was also involved in the original Dark Phoenix saga after the Phoenix saga.
Mm. Yeah, because the Hellfire Club are heavily involved in the Phoenix Saga, because they're the one that
Yes.
perpetuated this from happening.
I agree, but like I said, I'm a little rusty with the show, so I don't enter all the details and everything. Uh,
Well,
so,
you better
so
start getting
yeah, I
like
may have left out a few things.
Yeah,
we're
and
well,
Well, no,
even though
I mean, I'm familiar with the storyline of Emma Frost and her journeys between the X-Men, between the Hellfire Club. But I mean, particularly on this pilot. I mean, I'm not this pilot for this particular show. I may not have all the puzzles, pieces of the puzzles put together. I've got to be honest about that. I will be honest about that. But I do know, her journeys and her adventures in the comics
if
and
you
with the
know
Hellfire Club and so forth.
if you know that, then you might also know that our friend Janelle is not really a huge fan of Emma's heel face turn,
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, some people
which
aren't. She's not the only one. Yeah.
yeah,
I did
which
find
like I can
uh,
understand like where they're coming from. Where they're coming from, but the thing is like how redemption arcs were handled back then. Like the characters, like they did not forget they did not forget Emma's like Miss D's, nor did they forgive her.
Yeah,
Remember,
she did
they were
not
worried.
establish any regrets from that. She revels in it because here's the thing. Emma Frost is a rapist. A mind rapist, might I add. And yes, I mean that. Because she screwed up Emma Frost in the head so badly, along with Mastermind, as well as other characters in the X-Men. She revels in it.
You're not
Yeah,
wrong. I agree.
yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
arguing with you at all.
Yeah, all it took was loss of her students in the Hellions, where she actually make it was the catalyst of her change. With in summary, after the death of after the death of her students, it gave her a major wake up call.
So will get a redemption arc in X-97 then.
Likely.
I
Eh,
I don't. I'm not watching
well,
that show.
but again, like it depends. Really depends because even if it was that long period of time after season 5.
Yeah.
Wait, oh, wait, no. I meant season 4 because it only had 4 seasons. Because because X-Men 97 is essentially season 5. What? What? Well, again, we're not sure. We're not
Hmm.
sure if what Emma
Right.
in the TV series is gonna have her heel face turn like if turn in that series. We
Well,
don't
she
know.
should.
Well, as always, which stories are they? What story from the comics are they gonna adapt? Because in order for that to happen, I mean, it's with the death of the Hellions in the hands of Trevor Fitzroy,
Yeah,
Bishop, Bishop's longtime enemy. Well,
yeah,
his arch nemesis, really.
yeah. Because they brought over Jean Grey's Black Queen suit in the show, and yet women are now cosplaying as that because now like, what the frick took you so long? Because like,
Madeline
when
Pryor.
do you take that? Like, it took the Barbie film to get you to cosplaying as Barbie. What took you so long? You're cosplaying as Tifa now because the FF7 remake came out. What took you so long?
Granted, people have actually cosplayed as Tifa for years before the remake of Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah,
But as for women cosplaying as Madeline, they were a rarity, but it does happen. But even before X-Men '97.
Rarity, sure, because Madeline hardly ever get touched up at all in many comic book nerds
Mm.
uh his uh
collection.
historians,
Well, yeah.
historian.
However, she actually like regained prominence like during the Krakoa era with the Hellions comic book series as well as the Chaos Web storyline involving Ben Riley.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait,
You're not wrong,
she's
child of
somehow
flower.
involved in Spider-Man at one point.
Specifically, she's involved with Peter's like brother, the clone Ben Riley, and in that same story, she expressed remorse like inner corruption. Yet X-Men: The End by Chris Claremont did that way better than that event itself. Because in X-Men: The End, and he actually showcased Scott expressing regret for leaving her and Nathan all those years ago, and he
Mm.
actually redeemed both Scott and Madeline.
Nowhere, no place to hide, no place to run. The mutant age has now begun. X-Men, X-Men, this is the day. X-Men, X-Men, coming your way. Magneto's hearts are on their way to pillage, burn, and plunder. But there's one team that will not yield, the team that strikes like thunder. X-Men, X-Men, this is the day, this is the day. X-Men, X-Men, coming your way. That's it.
And a wonderful
That's the whole intro. Bruh,
Oh, you.
I will wake up every fucking Saturday morning to hear that shit. Fucking that fucking whole intro turned them into fucking soldiers. Like they marching like that's a fucking national anthem.
Well,
No,
it,
this
well,
is
to be
that
fair, it came off as one.
fucking anthem. That's man. I swear that should have been their fucking national anthem. X-Men, X-Men, this is the day. X-Men, X-Men, coming your way.
No, actually, no, now this costume from Kitty is that actually remains one of my favorites.
Not too crazy about the baggy top though. Never was. The sash was cool. Then again,
What else
this
was like showcase her, but excuse me,
that's
her mature. But, as I was saying earlier, it also showcased her maturity from the bratty teenager that she was into the young mature woman she would eventually become. No, because she trained in martial arts, or as by Wolverine. By
Mm-hmm.
Wolverine, so she doesn't become overly reliant on her phasing powers.
Well, in the last picture, at least she looked like a woman compared to the way they make them today. My God, I thought the next one, why are they making women so ugly? No offense to anyone, but she's they're drawing these female characters so ugly. At least she looked feminine, but she was strong, but she still looked feminine and womanly. Now they're just making them
Well,
so ugly.
her in her blue costume. This is now that's Kitty in her 20s. Whereas
Okay.
later on, like she became, she eventually turned in her 30s.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas as actually you can see in her well in this, well actually no, it's still her current costume ever since Joss Whedon's astonishing X-Men series,
I think
which is
with
a,
I,
which astonishing X-Men. What I'll give Whedon credit for is a return to form after Grant Morrison's X-Men run.
well, you got to point there, child of flower. No, I was saying in the photographs, this is okay, showing her progression, her maturity as a young woman, and those are great journeys. But I was just showing the pictures that Wolf was showing before that. She looked, womanly and feminine, and we don't see that much these days. They make them ugly.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah,
The blue costume is
uh,
fine to me.
like child, we got a joke. However, however, no, that was still Ellen Page. Ellen Page, she played that character, and her time in Hollywood like really screwed her up.
You are so right,
things.
Dom. Truer words have never been said.
Let's start wrapping up now. It's about
Uh,
probably 10:33 soon. To me, my X-Men. X-Men, X-Men, this is the day. X-Men, X-Men, coming your way.
you can't
I
help
thank
yourself.
thank everybody for being here. Those 8 of you, Jesus Christ, 8 of you. Those motherfuckers that keep popping in and out.
hello.
Wolf, did we lose you? I think his
Mm,
mic. I think his
Here we
microphone
go
went out.
again.
Yeah. While we wait for him, Dom, what is our topic for the real millennials this Thursday?
I mentioned I mentioned this to you all earlier last week. We're talking about the action and adventure genres.
Okay, you just have to remind me. Sometimes I don't think I will be ready for it. I've been looking back on some of my favorite action adventure films, so I will be ready
This
for
will be
that.
interesting.
Yes, because I was going over some my favorite action movies, and going through some of them to see which ones I like to bring up.
Thank you guys again for hearing us out while we meandered into the real topic of this whole shindig.
Oh,
Hopefully, we'll have a better coherent topic for you guys coming up. That being, of course, the X-Men 92 season 1, starting with season 1. And hopefully the meat guys will be with us this time once she's gone through a full recovery.
Mm.
Because she wasn't able to join us today, and she would have some very insightful. She would have probably have more insightful knowledge of what we're talking about today, since she is the definitive X-Men nerd, one of the very many, and also but also very few. Yeah, why the
I
hell
think
you bring up X-Men Destiny? Who the fuck gives a fuck about X-Men Destiny? This motherfucker had the nerve to bring that abomination up. Who the fuck gives a fuck about X-Men Destiny?
Oh man, that
I
game
guess
had the
because I
potential
mentioned
to
two X-Men games, I guess.
that game
Oh,
had the potential to be good, but that potential ended up being squandered.
good or bad, I didn't give a damn about it. That was the dumbest title I ever read. So as I read Destiny, I was like, Destiny about what?
Right?
And then you gotta pick 3 characters. You can't create your own character and pick out whatever mutation you want. No. Fuck that game. Yeah, once I heard the fucking makeup of that damn game, I said, fuck that game. I ain't playing that shit. It looks stupid too. Motherfucker had the nerve to bring up X-Men Destiny of all things.
oh,
He ain't bring up the fucking cool games like the fighting game. Was it Next Generation?
No, it's Next Dimension.
Yeah, Next Dimension. That fucking that that game was badass. Motherfucker had the nerve to bring up Destiny. Didn't even bring up the damn fighting game version. Ah, man, I wish I could physically reach my hand through the screen and smack him upside his head for bringing up that damn game.
Let's not forget the X-Men
Number one
Legends duology.
X-Men related content, you
Which
never
I
bring
did
up.
mention that. I did mention that. I mentioned the first
They
game.
did. But at least with the upcoming action and adventures episode of the Real Millennials, well, each of us can talk about talk more about the X-Men or any other characters and teams.
We
Because with comic books, manga, as well as graphic novels, even manhwa, they do involve action.
didn't even get a chance to bring up the arcade that preceded prior to the X-Men either. But then again, I don't think many of us have ever played it.
No, I played the arcade game.
I have played
I
that
played
too.
it
Yeah.
once over at Magic Mountain.
I,
It was broken though because too many people played it so damn much the damn buttons barely worked. I was playing as Nightcrawler for a while. The only thing I could muster to do with that motherfucker was do the specials, which was eating up my health. Fucking assholes, button mashing and shit. That's why I can never enjoy the good shit. Because motherfuckers always
Don't be
ruin.
relying on button mashing.
My
You
thing is,
gotta have actual technique.
problem with finding, the problem with being up games really was all the button pressing mostly, and people frustratingly trying to button press when they get locked into getting slapped around on both sides of enemies, like in Maximum Carnage and Separation Anxiety or any other beat 'em games on Sega. That and I'm not even gonna get into it, but yeah, I remember the arcade too. But yeah, I'd like to thank the late but talented Humble Survivors Humble Marty. The Humble Survivors Humble Marty.
Thank you for having me.
She's still waking up, guys. Second to her is our lovely Lady Violet plus size.
Good evening, everyone. This is Leah Plus Size, your lovely Lady of Valor, and I want to thank everyone to joining us for this beginning of this many discussions we are going to have about the X-Men. If there's any comments that you would like to leave below about the pilot, maybe there's some points that we missed, or maybe there's some other ideas that you want to share, please leave it in the comments below. I am sure we'll appreciate that. Until then, we hope to see you on Thursday for the Real Millennials, but also come back for our next discussion when we talk about the classic X-Men 92 show. And I'm very, very sure a lot of you might want to have some say of that. Until then, everybody have a good evening and see you on Thursday.
We have the Warrior of Light Offense Fan 12.
Well, that about does it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like what you saw, click like and subscribe and share with your family and friends. And make sure you ring that notification bell, that way you get notified of our latest videos. Go subscribe to 1210 Media if you haven't already. Go subscribe to me if you haven't already. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching. This is Final Fantasy Fan 12 signing off. And remember, may the light forever shine upon us.
And last but not least, we have the Hound of the South, Dominic Powell.
Thank you everyone for joining us in this latest episode of Animation Spotlight, and make sure you keep your notifications up and running for tonight. For this week's episode of The Real Millennials, we will be touching on the action and adventures genre. This is Helen South Dominic Powell signing off. Remember to keep up the good fight and keeping hope, idealism, and optimism alive in the world, because remember, cynicism and nihilism are for losers.
Oh, you motherfuckers. Okay. All right. I'm putting cases on all you bitches. Huh? You think you can do this shit? Jay! You think you can do this to me? You motherfuckers will be playing basketball in Pelican Bay when I get finished with you. Shoe program, nigga. 23-hour lockdown. I'm the man up in this piece. You'll never see the light of day. Who the fuck you think you fucking with? I'm the police. I run shit here. You just live here. Yeah, that's right. You better walk away. Go on, walk away, because I'm going to burn this motherfucker down. King Kong ain't got shit on me.